Shohei Ohtani's interpreter fired from the Dodgers.
Amid questions about wire transfers coming from Ohtani's bank account.
Is the latest wave of sports betting controversies in pro sports a sign of bad things to come? Hey everyone, Rob Wong, joined alongside by Toronto Sun sports columnist Steve Simmons. And Steve, it feels like this was all inevitable. North American pro sports leagues getting into bed with sports books. And a few years later, we've got some betting scandals on our hands with investigations of players directly or indirectly involved in sports betting. Not the first time, of course, there's been controversy of this nature, whether it's Pete Rose or Tim Donaghy. But in your opinion, Steve, is this just the tip of the iceberg, and that there's potentially more turbulence on the way?
Well, if you look back, we've already seen NBA officials who fixed games, and college basketball players who fixed games, and college football players who fixed games, and there's been a lot of that over the years when gambling was illegal. Now that gambling has been legalized across North America and maybe a lot of the world, and the games themselves, the leagues themselves, are in bed with the not just with the gambling houses, but with the networks who are essentially voice pieces for the things. So what you're seeing now is the beginning. This is not the end. This is going to continue, and there are going to be problems, and there's going to be more scandals, and there's going to be more people caught, because there's a chance for people to make money here that otherwise wouldn't find a way to make money. And so it's only natural to try and, fix the world, so to speak, if you can do that. But what's really interesting right now is this NBA scandal with the Toronto Raptors, Jontay Porter.
Sports betting has always been around. It just obviously is even more available. So it is, but as players, you don't really think about it. As a veteran, I don't really think about it as much because it's always been the rule.
It's barely being reported on by ESPN, which reports everything about the NBA. ESPN has its own bookmaking site. It has a daily show on sports betting. It also accepts advertising regularly every single day on almost every single program from gambling houses. So it's not in their best interest to have an NBA scandal going on where there's too much money for them to be, to be made here. And I think that's the problem, is everybody wants their piece of the action. It's a question on how you go about getting it. And that's why there's going to be scandals. And I just want to touch on Shohei Ohtani for 1 second, because we don't really know if it's a gambling scandal or just a guy that was a thief and gambled with someone else's money. But answer yourself this. Shohei Ohtani has hired one of the high-powered legal firms in the world to represent him right now. And he has hired a crisis management PR firm to take care of the stink around his circumstance. So you tell me, if he did nothing wrong, why is he hiring a lawyer? Why is he hiring crisis PR people? This is when you start digging under the surface, you're finding out more and more, and you will find out more and more as time goes on.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of questions when it comes to the Ohtani story. It is difficult, like you said, to watch any sports broadcast these days and not be inundated with sports betting content. Do you think, because of the money you mentioned, that leagues, networks, everybody is making hand over fist right now off sports betting, that we've reached the point of no return when it comes to these relationships, and that it's impossible to put the toothpaste back in the tube?
Well, you can't do that. And I was wondering, when the leagues got involved with the bookmakers, which is essentially what, with however you want to call the Bet365s and the rest of the world, it's legalized bookmaking. So the leagues are now partners of these people, which means the players are essentially partners of these people. And so the league is making money, and the networks are making money, and the gamblers, if they're winning, are making money and losing a lot as well. But what exactly are the players getting, other than more income coming to the sport, which brings more money to them? But it's not a balanced scale. And so you've got situations here where right now, I don't know if the leagues knew exactly what they were getting into. I think they just looked and said, bottom line, we can make this much money here. They're going to pay this much for us to be involved. They're going to pay this much to be the official bookmaker of the National Hockey League or NBA or NFL or whatever league we're talking about. And so they're in business with the gambling houses, holding their nose and hoping all the while that nothing bad will happen. And, it's gambling, and it's professional, and it's big money, and bad stuff is going to happen. It's always happened, and it always will happen.
Yeah, for many years they were not getting any piece of the action, and now they are. A lot of layers to the onion, to say the least. For all of Steve's sports coverage and opinions, you can find it right here at the Toronto Sun.